In our news segment, Steinway sales representative Erica Feidner talks about her uncanny knack for matching pianos and people. One Steinway employee who has been called a matchmaker by The New Yorker is Erica Feidner, who has an uncanny ability to choose pianos for people. Let's find out what she has in store for me. Erica Feidner, thanks so much for having us here.
Well, we're very happy to have you here. Thanks for the opportunity.
Let's talk about how you go about choosing a piano for somebody. Somebody walks into Steinway here on 57th Street and they go, I'm thinking about a piano. What's the first thing you do?
Come right in.
This is the place.
Sure, it is. I like to have them come to my desk so we can sit down for a moment. We have over 400 pianos in the building almost at all times, so it's helpful to narrow things down a little bit. So I'll talk about how much space they have, perhaps, and who the player will be, and what sort of music they like to listen to, and those types of things to get the ball rolling, and then we'll go take a look at some piano.
Do you ever start with, how much were you looking to spend?
Never. Never start with that. We do have all price points here at Steinway Hall. Certainly the Steinway piano itself is priced where it should be, but we also have other pianos that are available. So it's helpful really to determine with the customer what their needs are, and then eventually start talking about what that will entail for them, and just go from there.
There was a big article written about you, and it called you the piano matchmaker. Is it about someone's personality sometimes, or is it always just about if it matches with the furniture and matches with the wall?
Well, it can be both, and that's the fun part. And I think especially when you're getting perhaps a group of people or a family coming in, and the piano's for a number of people in the family. It's really interesting to try to find the piano that can accommodate all different tastes and personalities. And that's a challenge, but it's a fun challenge.
Now, we're in a room here. We really can't show you all the pianos that are in here, nor can we show you all the 400 that are here. But
right.
Do different kinds of woods have different kinds of sounds?
It's a great question. A Steinway piano is made of 85% wood. And because it's an organic material, you can expect then that each piano is going to sound a little bit different. And they are also handcrafted, which will impact the sound too. So to answer your question, it's a number of different factors. Certainly the personality of the person, but also a little bit about the acoustic in the room perhaps, but more importantly, whether there's drapes and high ceilings and so on. But first and foremost is the communication between the person and the piano, because that piano is born the way it's born, and wherever it goes, it will still be that piano, just like people.
You picked a piano for me, and we had a conversation prior to coming on the air here. Tell me what you learned from me and why you picked this piano for
Exactly.
me.
Well, we talked about a few things, a little briefly on the phone, but right away this piano came to mind. You mentioned that you have two children, one of whom is beginning to play, and the other perhaps is going to or perhaps not.
Well, he likes to bang on it.
That's fine. It can take it, right? Yeah. And yourself, that you've had some experience playing the piano, and you may or may not want to start playing again. And so given those components, I wanted to be sure to choose a piano that was sort of spirited and happy, in part to meet the needs of the children, because playing the piano is a fun experience, and learning to play can be very, very fun, but it's also a little challenging, so we like to make it as easy as possible on our end here. And so if the piano has a very sunny personality, as this one does, with the action or the touch that is very fluid and very responsive, so that I can sort of tell it what to do and it will do what I tell it to do, it's really a very happy sort of marriage of those two things. And so this particular piano can do pretty much anything.
Well, maybe that's a good segue just to hear it a little bit. You
Sure.
talked about action. I'm not exactly sure I know exactly what that means.
Sure.
So maybe you could just give us a little example of
Absolutely.
what it sounds like.
Sure. I can give you an idea of what it sounds like. I'm going to choose part of a Chopin piece that's sort of all over the keyboard. And as far as the action, I'm happy to tell you a little bit more about that perhaps when we're done, and maybe I can show you a couple things too, if that's appropriate. So So you'll hear that you can get some really very murky sounds and some life, and it's just a very, very versatile sounding piano. The action, too, is, to me, I feel like the key goes down far, and that there's very little interference between when I begin to play it and when I hit the bottom of the key. We
should say that normally you would probably never or rarely play a piano for someone who's trying to buy one. It would be the client that you would have, right?
That's right. For a period of my life, I was a pianist and a performing pianist, and it was a good part of my life, but what I really want to do is to encourage others to play, especially those folks who have never thought about playing the piano or had the idea that maybe they were destined to play the piano, or somebody told them that they had a deaf ear or whatever. So what I really like to do is to get the customer themselves right at the piano, especially if I'm talking with a family, the one person who has the least likelihood to think that they want to play the piano is the first person I get on the bench. Want to give it a try?
Do I want to give it a try? I'll do it afterwards, okay?
Fair enough.
How about that? I just want to ask about you, if I could, a little bit. We're so glad to have you here. How did you get from being Miss Vermont and doing pageants and stuff to being here at Steinway selling pianos?
I entered the Miss America pageant in 1985, representing the state of Vermont. It was actually, I was sort of a newcomer to the idea of pageants. It was not something that I had pursued at all. But I had seen a commercial for the Miss America pageant on television, and they offer a lot of scholarships, and I thought, well, gee, I'm graduating from college, and I have little money and no piano, and this might be a way to think about acquiring one. So I entered the Miss Vermont pageant in 1985, and at the Miss America pageant, I won a talent award. And
I'm guessing you played the piano.
I played the piano, and I then...
No twirling, it was the piano.
We had our fill of twirlers that year, and my year, yes, I did play a piece by Liszt, and I won a scholarship and used the money toward a Steinway piano at the time, in 1985. And I would say that was a period of my life where I was doing a lot of performing, and I decided to maybe set that aside, and found myself interested in business school because it was so far and away beyond what I had grown up with. And I remember just after I was married about 15 years ago, we went to Italy, and we went to the top of a mountain, and it was just very inspiring. And I just sort of found myself thinking about, the hills are alive or whatever. And I thought, well, instead of being a pianist and a teacher, maybe I could combine things and along with business and look into the piano market. And so I sort of came up with a list of some piano manufacturers. And, of course, one of the top of the lists was Steinway Sons. I did get a little bit of experience elsewhere first, and I came to Steinway in 1992. And I've been here just about 10 years.
Well, that's, how long we've been doing this television show is 10 years, too. And I do want to take this opportunity to thank you and everybody at Steinway. As people may know as they watch the show, Steinway has been providing the pianos for us on the show, whether it's been Andre Watts or Kenny Kissin. All the great artists that have come on our show have played Steinway's, courtesy of Steinway giving us the piano every week. So we want to thank you for that.
Absolutely.
And thank you for picking this piano out for me. I'm going to have the truck backed up. And could you just send the bill to A&E?
We could give that a try and see how it works out.
Erica Feidner, thanks so much.
Thank you, too.